I gotta turn around, I think. There we go. I'm good now. Doesn't look clear. You get better. Alright, I found a perfect place to clamp you. Clamping you to my rifle. That's hilarious. I've been trying to clamp. I've tried to clamp to my frame, and yeah, I want something from this angle, and I can't believe that it's taken me this long to actually try using my rifle. That's hilarious. Reroute my wire. Oh, it won't reach. Yeah, no reach. I just gotta reroute it a different way. There we go. Ta-da. Randy, you good? Yeah. All right. Look at you. Can you get some pants? Yep. Thank you, God. Morning, Bob. Morning, Bob. Alrighty, I was wondering if you saw a bag, a delivery. Have you seen a bag of Epsom salt? I had a bag of Epsom salt that was delivered on the 17th, and I just was wondering if you've seen it around your porch area. Or
17th, no.
Yeah, you just got back like a couple days ago, right?
Here yet.
Alrighty. All right, thank.
Delivered?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah, because it's not around. I didn't see it.
No, I hadn't seen anything at all.
All right, I'll order it. It's just a bag of Epsom salt.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you have a good day.
You too.
Chicken's got pasty butts. Need some Epsom salt. Soak them. The website said it was delivered, and it's nowhere. Said it was delivered to the mailbox. Nothing in the mailbox. It'd be pretty disappointing to porch pirate that. $3 bag of Epsom salt. Feel like a criminal in exchange for that. What a rip-off. Sucker criminals. Like, they think that they're ripping people off, but they're ripping themselves off. It's so sad. Good sheep. Yeah. Ooh, their grass hay should be done today. Let me go gather that up. That'll be nice. Clover and sweet new growth grass tips. Scythe down with my bush scythe, my bush blade. Trying to get a grass blade on my wish list right now. Grass blade so I can cut the finer grasses as hay for them. Because I just have a little short blade for edges and getting around plants and stuff and around tree trunks. And then I have a bush scythe. So basically I have like a ditch blade and a bush blade. Both of those are for clearing fire breaks. That's what I saw as most valuable with the scythe, because it can also get down a lot of weeds that they like to eat, whereas the grass blade can only get down like finer stuff. And it also has a learning curve of needing to learn how to peen, is what it's called. P-E-E-N. P-E-E-N. Peen. Peening is, I don't understand why they don't do it with regular knives, and I'm gonna start doing it as soon as I start trying it again with my scythe blades. It's really it's a delicate art of hammering in a very consistent manner. You have to learn how to hammer very lightly and very consistently in order to build up the heat from the friction, just from the collision of the metals. It forms a localized heated area that is so heated that it serves as the same function as when they stick the whole piece of metal into a foundry to or yeah, to whatever. The has the same heat to as a blacksmith to forge different shapes in the that localized area, and you're making it flatter and drawing out the blade significantly by heating it up just a little bit. But if you heat it up too much, then it warps it and makes it brittle, just like welding and blacksmithing. It's I don't know if it is with blacksmithing, but with welding, if you heat stuff up too much, it makes it brittle, depending on the different metals, like threshold point, temperature threshold. So but yeah, it is smashing the blade consistently to a paper thin, a paper thinness that is razor, like more than razor sharp. I have to say, it's like a good peen or a newly peened scythe blade seems scarier in its sharpness than a razor blade. Of course, it's way bigger. They're the best. They're the sharpest blade by far. Scythe blades for butchering, and the angle of them like just helps facilitate that. It's like bent forward like a kukri, so that when you draw across, it like has naturally increasing pressure. And yeah, the sharpness of a scythe blade is unmatched because of the angle of the blade. No other knives or blades have such a extreme angle to the blade. It's basically like a piece of paper, like for the first half inch of the blade, whereas like a razor blade might be that thinness for just the tip, and then it quickly widens, which doesn't give it as the slicing power that a scythe blade has, that it needs to easily cut through the thinnest of stems, or blades of grass. So I don't have a scythe blade that is that thin. Like it, the blade is intended to be stronger than sharper, and so it widens out. It's not meant to be peened. My ditch blade can be peened, and a grass blade needs to be peened. It took me forever to figure that out, that there's like, to overstand that there's those three options. Because sometimes different websites will call the ditch blade something else, I forgot. But basically it's the same thing, and there's three ways of looking at it. Like a grass blade that's longer and lighter weight also is another key. Like my ditch blade is so heavy that like when I get done, it's a workout. It's a good workout, let's just put it that way. It's not very efficient for cutting really light wispy stuff though. You got to swing it faster than you would an actual grass blade, and it doesn't do nearly as good a job. Let's see. These right here. You want to do this over a clean area, or not a clean area. Do this over an area of the tray that doesn't have wool, so that you're not breaking apart and dropping the dirt. down into your already released dirt released wool. I'm going right to left. I never do that. I mean, I like rarely do that. I never say never, because you gotta switch it up. You gotta switch up your angle, always be looking from different angles. Trying new things, not assuming that what you have is the best and most efficient way. Learning ambidextrousness is good too. It's so hard though. Oh, goodness. It's like wiping your butt with your other hand. Just feels so strange and just not, it's not conducive for relaxation, that's for damn sure. I find this, what I'm doing right now, to be totally relaxing. This is one of the most relaxing things that I have available to take a mental vacation into. This is great escape. That was a little harsh, but you get the idea. It doesn't need to be perfect. You're stacking it with a little bit of overlappedness. Overlapsness of the previous piece that I put in closest to the wall. The most difficult part is knowing where, or deciding where to, because it's not like it's difficult, it's just hard to find where to rip these apart, especially if you haven't kept the fleece in good condition. Keep it in a box. Don't put it in a bag, because every time you go to move that bag, you're gonna felt these pieces together more and more, making them harder to pull apart and less enjoyable to pull apart, and they'll also be less distinguishable locks that you can even pull them apart into their individual locks. That's absolutely necessary. This is an absolutely necessary step of box felting. This finger carding, or finger carding before the box felting, is that you have to be able to rip off individual locks that isn't quite so necessary with the modernized paddles. The paddles, like you could not have to grab onto the lock and grab onto this lock and rip in between them. You could like have half of this one, you could just like drive your thumb into that by grabbing it unconsciously and just ripping off this, about this big of a piece, and slapping it onto a paddle and just being like, because it just rips up the length of the fibers into at least half, if not thirds, depending on, like a little bit longer than this, and it'll rip it up into thirds, those paddles. And it yeah, it rips them. Each time that you're doing this, it is ripping. Like they all get ripped at least in half, so that your final felt has half as long, it's made up of half of as long of fibers, so that when you pull, it's called shear strength. Like if this was a felt right here, and when you pull it apart, my felts have superior shear strength. And this piece hasn't even been pre-stretched. I mean, besides when I'm felting, it has no stretch to it at all. Whereas the paddles will produce, it's made up of half the length of fibers, so it has half the shear strength, theoretically. I mean, that's what it would seem like it would be if they're half as long, but they're oftentimes less than that. They're like I said, they get like with this long 6-inch. This is definitely going to get ripped in half more than in half. So yeah, that's the downside of the modernized expensive paddles that really don't have a DIY alternative for, because they're so specialty shaped, the prongs on them. I've tried to use the traditional thistles, and they do not work because you have to have a specific kind of gigantor thistle that has a head that's so big, that has barbs that are so strong, and that it doesn't grow here. I mean, it can in like a garden or something like that. Maybe I should grow some, but I don't really want to. Like when I was thinking about growing that, back when I was experimenting with the biggest ones I could find in the wild here, biggest thistle heads, then it ended up I ended up tripping upon this, just playing with wool, pulling it apart, and I was like, man, this is really efficient. And then the box idea, just let's fill up a box and like wet it down, and because I hadn't been using a box and I had been using paddles to felt. I started learning with paddles, but like everything that I do, I'm trying to figure out a way that we can do it more sustainably and without like in a shit hitting the fan scenario, without centrally controlled industry and international industry and stuff. Like those specialty paddles are pretty darn specialty. It's not like some other products, like an empty Coke can or something that's laying on the side of the road everywhere, or like some resources are going to be forever more available after shit hits the fan than other ones, and carding paddles are definitely not one of them. So yeah, I got into felting, trying to figure it out for myself so that we could learn and see if it could be simplified. And sure enough, finger carding and box felting are awesome. They're way better, way more like anything that you can do where your hands are more directly working with the medium that you're working with. It's going to be more intimate, because like literally, because you don't have anything in between you separating you. You're going to be more in tune with it, more connected with the process. And yeah, I wonder if there's people that paint with their fingertips or something, or they have like nails also that they like use their finger and their nails for. I could see that. I'm gonna look that up now. I bet that'd be really a lot more fun than using a brush. I experimented for so long and tried to keep an open mind for like, well, how can we most efficiently pull these fibers apart? Because I didn't start wanting to pull the fibers apart like this to felt. I wanted to pull the fibers apart in order to create a rolag that I could spin. And I actually have a video that because I have a couple of methods of spinning that I've developed, invented over the years, and it is there's one that I made a video for, but I never uploaded it, but I still have it. Never uploaded it to the channel. So maybe I want to do that. I forgot about that. I found it on an old phone. I keep all my old phones. Gotta finish cleaning the chicken coop today. I get to finish cleaning the chicken coop today. I get to get done with it. And get it off my shoulders. Yeah, Jerry. Sit, chicken. Go on. Get. Good boy. He's smart chicken. Smart chicken. Persistent, but smart. I don't like the chicken poop around my wagon, and I got bare feet. Mm-hmm. If you try to pull the fibers apart in any other way, like holding them from the ends, in any way, instead of holding them between your pinky and your palm and tensioning it somewhat, you're constantly tensioning it and pulling it apart from the center so that the angle that it's being pulled apart is always optimal. If you tried to pull it apart from grabbing the ends, then it would pull like with no angle, and the barbs catch the most and produce the most resistance. And then when the things that you schleff off are not fluffy like this, they're more linear, and it doesn't produce as consistent of, or as, yeah, it doesn't produce a quality product like this. This is the best quality of felt. Like I explained earlier, it has the best shear strength of any felt that you can make with a carding paddle. And there's also an element of the more that, like when the carding paddles rip apart the fibers into halves or thirds, that increases the ratio of, in your final felt, that it increases the ratio of ends of fibers, and ends of fibers, I don't know, theoretically, that because they're closed in upon, they provide one little pocket of like one larger pocket, I would assume. No, it would be about the same. It would close in on the end. The other fibers would, when they're bunched in. It definitely affects the shear strength. That's all I know. There's a bunch of theories I have behind the felting. Theories, just ideas and questions I have about the nature of the different felting processes and their thermal values. because what it was not the ends. It was the what affects the thermal supremacy of I love we're using that word now because it's like so vilified that it's like I think about using that when before like 5 or 10 years ago when the news started vilifying that word or throwing that word out and even making that a thing. It yeah, we didn't even think about that word. Think twice about using that word in normal conversation, but now I like to use it anyway. Like when I double think about it, it's like, no, let's fucking use it. Fuck the news. I'm so sick of this everything official. It's a joke. Official dumb is officially dumb. I wanted to rhyme out of that, damn it. One didn't come. This is a little big of a pace. I was explaining earlier that the thermal supremacy of my box felting over the modern carding paddle method is that the modern carding paddle method aligns all of the fibers. It aligns them all in the same order as this. It's a completely different product. My felts are, we need to come up with like terms. My felts are closed cell felting, whereas modern paddles create a mat that has no air pockets in it, relatively no air pockets in it, except for at the ends of those fibers. That's what I was. You can tell I never talk. I don't have anyone to dork out around about this, so I don't talk about this stuff, and I don't even have it hashed out completely in my mind because I'm not able to discuss it with people because no one's interested in anything other than Kardashian level shit. So, or superficial sustainability shit. Yeah, this jumbled fiber instead of aligned fiber. I don't know. I'm just throwing words out there. I would like some helps in the comments for what we could call, how we could name and overstand this box felting. And so yeah, you have traditional, or you have, well, it is traditional thistles that were used, ripped and aligned, combed, ripped and aligned the fibers linearly. And like I've tried to, obviously one of the first things I ever tried was just laying all like the pieces out like this, and then laying another layer across going like that, and it works, but it because you're not combing them all perfectly linear and like untangling them and then stacking them tighter and then entangling that mass so that it's tighter. The felt, if you try to do this, it can't get tight enough to be as thermally insulative and hold in air, and it also can't. Because you're laying down looser already tangled networks that don't have the ability, you get a lot to come together consistently here, then you get a lot of separating during the rolling process. So it creates an inconsistent product that can't felt tight enough to be as thermally helpful or as abrasion resistant. The tighter the felt, the more it can withstand rubbing up against a branch as you walk by. The looser the felt, the more likely it's going to get caught and snag out fibers. And so yeah, this isn't possible. Box felting. So modern carding is similar to how produces something that kind of looks like linear like this, but it's putting the fibers together side to side much tighter, so tight that there's no air gap in between them. There's the main air gaps in a paddle felted paddle felt is at the ends of those fibers, where the other fibers close in around the absence of the rest of that terminating fiber. Whereas my box felting is ridiculously warmer because it has, if it's thick enough. It's the same case with when you make a felt just by stacking these and stacking them like this, like in a super primitive way without having to finger card them. You need air pockets in the felt to insulate, which the paddle carded don't have much of at Finney. And then, I mean, it does, otherwise they wouldn't be insulative. But compared to this sweet spot in the middle is what I'm trying to illustrate, is that you got your ultra processed over here that has the, let's say, medium amount of insulative power. And then you have this end of the spectrum, which would be that super primitive way that it just has too much airflow going through it because it can't felt tight enough. And those air pockets that are inside are way more numerous than the other end spectrum, but they're also larger. And so they can't serve their function of holding in heat because there's so much air going through there. And so in the middle, you have this sweet spot of closed-inness, but still providing micro spaces. And the ultra processed method can't even compete with this box felting. This felting is more insulative than any other method of felting. Needle felting actually might, now that I think about it, I've never thought about that until I just tried to make that like bold statement. So needle felting is the other method that they, general method that you got your linear paddles and you have your fluffed, naturally worked in to each other, and then you have your linearly card. There's a third way of linearly carding and then using needles that have barbs on them to push the fibers down in and past each other. And that method provides, its final product provides more air pockets. I would say the same amount of air pockets as, no, it would be more air pockets because it also has more ends. It has a higher end fiber ends ratio because it's being paddle carded. It's actually using a bigger version of a paddle carding combs is called a drum carder, and that's what like the industrial size version of the paddle carding comb is. I don't know why they call it carding combs. No, they call carding brushes because it looks like more of a brush than a comb. what they call it. So yeah, box felting. But that method is got the worst shear resistance because the fibers are half to 1/3 the original lock length, and like how mine maintain their full length when pulled apart. When they card the fibers apart, they rip it in half or into thirds, and they are not trying to felt the fibers as in a linear fashion that helps their barbs to bond to themselves sideways, because the shear strength pulling that way would pull them in the direction that their barbs would maximally drag against each other, whereas the needle felting method, the third method, is lining those fibers up linearly, but then punching them down into each other. And so that isn't giving the final overall piece as much. It's going to have more stretch and more ability to tear. So mine has a stretching point that it stretches, and then it becomes like rope strong, like yeah, it's like strong as canvas. Maybe not strong as canvas at the same thickness, but at the same weight, because there's going to be, obviously, like, if I tried to like make a felt that was as thin as a canvas, then it would yeah, it wouldn't be very strong. But if I made it like 1/16 of an inch or eighth of an inch or something like that, it'd probably weigh the same. Actually, probably like a 1/4 inch would weigh the same as a thick canvas tarp, because of all the air pockets in between, whereas the canvas is twisted and condensed without air pockets. So many tests I would like to do. So many tests I would like to do. I wish I had some other people interested in the same things, so they could just go do it. There's so many bored people, so many people displeased. I don't understand why there's not more people interested in these ideas that I'm working with. Take them, go make your money. I don't care. These ideas need to get out there because they're helpful. Everything's on the website. I don't understand why that survival credit card hasn't been published. I've contacted a couple publishers about it in the past, and none of them responded back. Yet every other person has their own book that they wrote and they got published, and here I got like something that's actually original, trying to help out. It's a community, it's the only community survival guide, and the only pocket-sized survival guide, or wallet-sized survival guide. There's pocket-sized survival guides, but there's not wallet-sized survival guides. Credit card-sized survival guide. There's definitely no credit card-sized survival guide. I've never seen anything smaller than a pocket-sized one. I think I've seen a wallet-sized wild edible guide like maybe 5 years ago. It was cool. It was like a fold-out. Box felting's the best. I'll say it. If you've done all three methods and you actually have like locks that aren't pre-matted badly, and so that it's enjoyable and efficient enough to pull apart, relaxing enough to pull apart, and it makes that awesome ripping noise. It's not ripping, it's that's the barbs. You guys hear that? I love it. I can hear it when I'm sitting here. This is my favorite part of it, is the ASMR of the finger carding. Pulling the barbs apart. So, an update for those who are watching, real fans, we are waiting. We've had slowly, as we get the money, order and try new fold down bathroom arches. At first, I tried to get by with the most affordable option, which was metal rods, steel rods, and I attached them and I was trying to make it work because I just want a bathroom and a shower area, a place for me to bathe. I'm so unfamiliar with bathing, I don't even know what to call it. And yeah, the first rods were too unsupportive. I felt like they were a little too unsupportive. And then I ordered the next size up, 3/8 inch, I think it was, or 3/16 inch, and rod. And those were stable enough, but those ended up being too wide to completely make it out of, because I'm figuring like 5 hoops, 1 to rest on the ground, 1 to be attached to affixed and not drop down. It's attached to the roof and attaching the fabric of the bathroom to the fabric of the bathroom is sandwiched over the top arch and under the roof, and then you have 3 arches that are in between. You have 1 in the middle and 2 like that, and that's like any more than that's unnecessary, and any less than that doesn't open up and make it a full potential room or shower area. It doesn't feel nearly as large. It's not maximizing the potential of the project, and so, but you can't fit 5 of those bars. It ends up sticking out of the side of the cargo rack like that far if you have 5 of them, which just looks ridiculous, and it still doesn't quite seem like it's gonna have enough strength in the wind to really make it make me not have to worry about it, because I want that to be a drop down room for my sheep when it's really windy and I want to close this up. When it's really storming out, I want that to be like the storm room for my sheep, or for a friend that's staying when it's not storming or whatever. Like, that can be like a little room that can share. When this is cracked open, the stove heat can go into there and keep that warmed. I want to get a I'm using burlap for the cover regularly for summertime, so that it's most airy and most comfortable in there to sit in there. It'll be like shaded, but the breeze will be coming through. and then have a tent material cover over that. I'm working out a button system so that it can just button on in the winter time, and I'll just leave it going over the summertime burlap layer basically. And the inside burlap layer will also help to somewhat insulate. At least buffer the cold air a little bit. The cold tent fabric on the inside air. Buffer the cold tent fabric on the inside air. All right, I'm doing something new also with this felting this time. I've been experimenting like for the last couple months. I've tried like different ways of getting the box felting process to be maximized using just one box, because the weak point, the most unenjoyable part of box felting is that it for a mobile person like myself, a big enough box to really do a big enough piece to maximize your time and effort processing. There's like a certain size, maximum size within every making process that is the most efficient for you as an individual. The most efficient size for me, and I would argue anyone, to make box felting a felt is roughly 6 inches shorter than your arm span, because you're gonna have to reach out and you're gonna have to turn and flip, and any larger than that, and you're going to have to try to fold it in different manners that do it more gingerly. And there's a ton of ways that I worked out to do that, but they don't make as consistent a product. And also bigger than 5 foot by 5 foot square panel starting out with, which reduces down to like 4 foot by 4 foot if you wanted. You could have it just reduced down to, there's different ways that you can get it to felt up tighter flatwise, or get it to felt up, shrink up in surface area, or in surface space, whatever. And square inch, reducing it square inch. And so 3 foot by 3 foot is like the smallest in general that you could get out of 5 foot box felted, pre-box felted fluff cube, or whatever you would call cotton cube, whatever that shape is called. What do you call that? That's not a rectangular. It's like square this way, but from the sides it's not square. It's like shorter. What would you call that shape? That's weird. It's not a rectangle. It's not a square. If there's a name for that shape that has eluded me my entire adulthood and childhood, that should have been like a childhood that I should have learned about that shape's name. Am I tripping? What is the name of a shape that's square this way, but then its 3-dimension isn't this tall? It's only this tall, like a squished down square, a short square. I don't know. This is crazy. Now I hope I remember, because like I want to look that up right now. That'd be something that I'd be on Google right now and figuring out, and it'd probably lead me down some stupid rabbit hole. And now I'm gonna have to try to remember, because I'm on if we're live streaming right now, I don't think I can. I wonder if I can take phone calls while we're live streaming. That's what I was wondering, because while I was filling out the title to live stream. Someone tried to call, and then they hung up right away before I could press on it and take the call. They hung up, and I thought, oh, that would be interesting if I start live streaming and they call. I wonder if that will work. I thought it looked like it gave a little filmers icon, so I think it's the filmer, one of the filmers that wants to come film me, film this lifestyle. There's been a bunch. There's been so many filmers since Kirsten Dirksen's, but most of them are like just ridiculous. Oh my god, the Business Insider was ridiculous, but I that was too big of an opportunity to pass up and tell to fuck off. Because most of them like, man, they're just wild. They want to, what is it? Each one has just had their crazy like demands, or like, we would have to do it like this. We're willing to pay you though. It's like some of them are, a couple of them were offering $1,000, $1,500 to payment for my time or whatever. I don't know. They were like, it's not payment for it, but we call it gratuities or something. I don't know. They had some loophole like way of, they're not supposed to be allowed to, as journalists, pay me, because then that would infer bias, I guess, in their product, their video product. But there's a way that they can, the way they word it is a way of paying the people that work with them to be filmed. Yeah. Shysters. The whole TV industry, the whole movie industry, shysters. Shysters. So I'm trying to get this box felting to be more maximized for a traveling wagon of this size, because as you can see, I can easily fit a tote. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can see that. YouTube figure out how to let us do our wide angle phone cameras during live stream. This is stupid, giving us this fucking blinder ass 90s live streaming option. Come on. Oh, and yeah, these totes are perfect, and I was trying to carry around 3 of them stacked, and or I can fit another one here, like lengthwise, and I can technically fit the third one here where I'm sitting. But I do not like having 3 of anything. I do not like having 3 of anything. Like a tool of anything. It likely, it ideally would have 3, a tool would have 3 separate functions, like 3 stacked functions. There is no way that this size wagon can facilitate the hauling around of any tool that is redundant, unless it's a tool that needs to be like replenished every once in a while, like my water filters. I got a Berkey water filter over here, and I got 2 spare filters over there. They're good for like 2,000 gallons each or something like that, so I'm good for water filters for the next 10 years. And I would consider that a tool, but it needs to be replenished. And but all the other tools, you want them to be, that don't need to be replenished, you want them to ideally have stacked function, and you can't be carrying around spares of those. And so a box is basically it's a tool, and it has the same functions, and carrying around 3 of them is just, it's too much space, in here. Too much weight too. That was the main thing that it got me, is that like I can tell the subtle difference in carrying around 10, 20 more pounds. And these each weigh like, they gotta weigh like 5 pounds each, because when I carry around 3 of them, I can feel it. Whereas if I just carry around 1, I don't really think I can feel it. And I think and it's also just more reasonable, because I don't like to, spatially, I don't like to deal with 3 things that are the same thing, because I start to get confused about what's in each box without, even if it's labeled, I don't like having to keep track of 3 separate things. Like, I don't like having to keep track of 3 separate sheep. Honestly, like having 2 sheep is so peaceful, it's ridiculous. It's like night and day. It's so ridiculous. And then as soon as you start to get like 4, it just gets exponentially more mentally chaotic, that you can easily and quickly get used to and forget how the peace of not having that, because there's a certain like a sense of like blocking out and putting blinders on the discomfort, because you are in a leadership motherly role that doesn't allow you to go down that spiral, that negative spiral of criticizing your unit, criticizing what you're responsible for. It's just not conducive for good leadership. So you just, for being a mother, like you can't be a good mother if you're stuck. If you're thinking negatively about your responsibilities, or thinking negatively about your subjects, your responsibilities, that's even, worse. I've been having more than 3 kids has got to be difficult. Having more than 2 kids has got to be difficult. I think 2 would be like having 1 would be kind of sad. I don't know. Having none though is sad. People push through the insecurities that they've television and music and media has instilled us with, and breed on, please. In a smart way, on a homestead or farmsteading, or farmhanding with homesteading friends. One of the 2. Don't bring them up in the cities. Don't subject yourself to the shitties any longer. Get the fuck out. What are you doing? What are you doing? You know it makes you unhappy. You know it makes you unhealthy. The only thing that makes you happy is not in a holistic, fulfilling way. The only thing that makes you feel happy about living in the shitties is your social addictions, your social affirmations on your own being. Like, you run into people who are polite to you, who make you feel like they like you, which makes you feel accepted. And moving out into rural areas as farmers or farmhands is the scariest idea for humans. I know, because I was scared by it. And I'm quicker at shucking shit off concerns than most people. That's why I was able to drop out of high school, and that's why I was able to quit sports for skateboarding, and that's why I was able to quit society, to be voluntarily homeless, to start figuring out how to. Well, before that, I was able to drop out of society to be an activist, and then actually able to drop out of society and not give a fuck, because it gave me more time to be an activist and more focus. Now look at all the things I created with a shoeless string budget on 123Homefree.com. There is no one else who has shown more focus and concern for humanity and for the world, for Earth, than, and with as small of a budget as me. Show me one person, please, because I want to meet them, because I want to work with them, I want to promote them, whatever they've created to help out society, that is being underfunded, that has the ability, whatever they prototyped basically is what that would be. Because whatever anyone is able to create that is good for society, or is a good idea for society, that's on as shoeless string of a budget, I guess my term, shoeless string. Shoeless string budget. Shoestringless budget? Was that it? That was the one. Shoestringless budget. I don't even have shoestrings. I don't even have shoes. A shoeless budget. You should call it a shoeless budget. I actually am out of shoes right now. I'm out of sandals. My sandals have had it. I can't repair them anymore. They're starting to. I need to start. Missy. Oh, she's getting into the peaches. Missy. You. Get out of here. You. Okay, good. You didn't. Yes. You didn't destroy too many. The neighbor. Peaches from the neighbor's tree. And Tony. You want one? Give me, I'll feed it to you. She can't get into them herself because she'll just like tear them apart. Come here. Missy. Yeah. You want one? You think am I still in trouble? Here, come eat this one. This one's got mold on the back. Come eat this apple. You want an apple? Apples are like, I don't know. I don't really like feeding them peaches if they are too soft because then they're just like super messy. Yeah, this one's good. Okay. Okay, you don't even want it anyway. Want this? Hey. What are you? Yeah, you gonna waste it? Whatever. Oh, you're right. I'm starting to go downhill and it's soft. She's right. Apple sucks. Give it to chickens. We are apple snobs for sure. This is a good one. Good size. You don't want it? I don't know what her problem is. Sometimes like you can lead them like to their favorite plants and like the best stuff. Like they won't eat these off the ground. They want me to put them like in their eating dishes. Basically, they really like to have and require to have some kind of a clean-ish. I mean, for their standard, it has to be off the ground. And I don't think that it would be a problem if we didn't have chickens on the property. If we didn't have chickens on the property, I think that I could just put their treats, their apple treats. Because after I milk them, I shake the tree, and they won't eat off the ground. I think primarily because they won't eat the apples off the ground. They will, but they'll only take one bite out of each because usually that first bite requires them to like have to rub it into the ground in order to get enough of a grasp to bite off a chunk, and then by then it's all like infected with the ground's microbiome that has chicken poop all over it, and so I have to collect the apples in the pot, and then I dump them out into the Scythe hay that's dry, dried hay. It's that I make like a mashed potato pile in and put the apples in, and that seems to be the best way to feed them apples, that they eat the most of the apples, eat the because if I give it to them in a pot, I have to put that pot up against in the corner of their shed area so that they don't have to push it around and don't knock it over. But then it holds liquid, and so they don't want to eat the pieces and the apples that are on the bottom because they've gotten too much cooties from the other sheep intermixed on top, and so the hay allows for them to both eat at those apples, and their cooties fall respectively and don't mix in with the bottom layer of apples.
Thank you. Goodness. Thank you, God. This one's too soft on the backside, so I don't want it weeping. It's too hard on the backside, though. Yeah, way too hard. That's weird. I need this one because it has mold. Oh, this one's perfect. Yeah. A little early. This backside is better. Thank you, God. Mm-hmm. Happy chickens. Organic, unsprayed. All the orchards around here that grow peaches just spray the shit out of everything. Question. Hazmat suit requiring stuff. Good shit. You want me to go get your hay? So I ordered enough flat bars. I ended up going after getting the rods. Sorry, I keep getting stopping conversations, starting back up topics. The uprights, the arches for the bathroom. After stepping up the girth of the rods and finding that they 5 of them couldn't be stacked onto the hinge bolts. They couldn't fit, and they weren't stable enough for high winds that I'm wanting. Stable enough that I went with flat bars, like 1/8 of an inch by 1/2 an inch, and welded those together into an arch that was like, it's awesome. But if I did 5 of those, it would be by replacing 2 of those 5 with rods. I'm gonna do like the second hoop, and it would be the 4th hoop will be rods, and then the bottom hoop will be flat bar. The middle hoop will be flat bar, and the top one that's steadfast, it does not hinge down, will be flat bar, and then that combination, it'll save, instead of doing 5 flat bars, it'll save like, I don't know, save like 5 pounds or something like that, which, like, I'm thinking like every pound counts with this wagon, in the same way that every ounce counts with backpack, ultralight backpacking. I like to think of this wagon as like in that same way, like yeah, every pound. I actually get down to every ounce counts, to be honest. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to wait on right now. And I also ordered the I finally I was scared of how the inside of my cracked front fork top tube on this wagon. I was turned off from learning. I was intimidated from learning how the inside of that structure is, so that I basically I didn't feel comfortable being able to take off the nut and take that jacket up, take out the fork, to be able to use a caliper to measure the top tube to be able to replace it. I wasn't confident enough that I would be able to do that without the bearings falling out and then me not knowing how to get them back in. And so I had to ride around with a cracked top tube for, it's been over a year now, I think. It's been a year since It's either been almost a year or over a year. I don't know. For me, since that top tube has been cracked, and it's taken that long for the ball bearing cage to like actually start like working its way out, so that I'm like, okay, so this whole thing has been riding on no bearings. So now I'm not so afraid to like jack it up and take this thing out and caliper it. And also, I was intimidated by like just how that's structured and if I would be able to replace it. Point being is like you don't even need bearings. Like you don't even need bearings. Like I've been pulling this around without bearings for so long, and in fact, it probably is better without bearings because I'm thinking it might be better without bearings because then when you drop the yoke bar, it's more likely to stay turned in the direction that you left it, or left straight, so that it's not like because of the angle of front forks on bicycles and on this wagon, how they're angled forward, and especially when they have attached baskets on top, when they start to be turned, they have an exponential propensity to turn all the way. And so not having bearings might actually be better. And so yeah, I don't know what to do, because we actually have a bar. We have a bar on this property. I already had it, that this fork fit in. And I wanted to just weld that, but then I was like, oh, it needs to be a 1/4 inch larger so that you can put in the bearing at the top and the bottom. And so I went ahead and ordered the right size to put bearings in, but after ordering it, it's gonna take like another week for it to get here. I ordered it like last week, and it's only $6. But I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, maybe I don't even want to like use that larger one. Maybe I want to use the one that's on my friend's property here that it fits well in, and you can't fit bearings in there, but maybe I could just like oil it up, or maybe I wouldn't want to oil it up because I want it to stay straight, and like I have enough leverage at the end of my yoke bar to be able to turn it easily enough that it doesn't require bearings or lube. And then yeah, maybe I could put in there just a minimal amount so that the rubbing back and forth doesn't wear the metal, but it doesn't provide lube. Or maybe providing lube wouldn't be too wouldn't limit the resistance too much to where it wouldn't have that propensity to turn all the way to the side with the weight of the basket. I don't know. I got that bar. I got the ability to fix my own wagon here next week, officially, or I could do it unofficially right now, and I still haven't decided what to do. I think the most sustainable thing, honestly, to be honest, like if we're gonna bring this back to like what's replicable for other people and replicable in a shit hitting the fan scenario, it's not gonna be realistic for people to be able to. I don't know. These wagons, like most bicycles their top tube is not designed to take. It's not thick enough, and it's not steel enough. It's like got alloys. It's an alloy that it has other lighter metals in it to make the bike lighter, but it's not necessarily. It's reducing the strength. So the material that they're made out of and the thickness that they're made out of is not made for carrying probably more than 300 pounds or something like that. Whatever heavy riders maximum weight limit, regular bicycles probably have a 300 or 350 pound weight limit. I think I've looked it up before. And whereas this wagon weighs like 450 pounds fully loaded, like maximally. I like pulling it, like undeniable, like I'm the happiest situation undeniably when it's when my home is 400 pounds. But that's not, yeah, so 450 pounds is like my limit to where it's not fun anymore. So it's a pretty tight curve. But I have plans to get rid of like coffee, the coffee example. Like I've done that long enough. I think that you could like envision this. As soon as I get the bathroom done and I complete this example and I get enough documentation of the completed example, then I'm gonna start walking myself back in at least the coffee, because I don't like my addiction to an unsustainably sourced product. Unless I moved to Hawaii or moved down to Southern California where they grow coffee. But I can't get anyone to grow. I've been talking about how people, to my friends who have greenhouses here, that they can grow coffee and that it would be really profitable. Look at Southern California. All these companies down there are always sold out because they're able to charge like a premium for their local productness, and there's a market for it. You just mark it up, you know? Yeah, people buy their coffee now from other places, but if you have local coffee, people will pay 2-3 times as much, which they're doing down there. What is it? It's like $60 a pound for California coffee. That's crazy. I bet they hand pick it though and don't use machines, so that each bean is like picked at its perfect ripeness instead of like them going through with a raking machine or a shaking machine that shakes and rakes the berries and that are overripe and that are also underripe, in addition to the ripe ones, so that you get an overall product that's not as good of a flavor. Not as consistent as a flavor. Not as consistent of the ripe, as potent or consistent of the ripe berry flavor. It's starting to get warm out. I need to pull my black pot out and pull the cold gallon of milk that I built up over the last day or two. It's in the fridge. Pull it out and start warming it up. Got this morning's milk down there. Make some mozzarella. I came up with a new cheese cave solution that I'm really, really actually grateful for. It's definitely going to help out. It's definitely going to help people. Help people process their own dairy pets cheese in the future. It's a mobile cheese cave advancement. My mobile cheese cave. I don't know anyone else working on mobile cheese caves or anything else that I'm working on. No one else in the world is working on this stuff. Why isn't this channel freaking viral yet? Well, and it's like also the most sustainable lifestyle, hands down, that anyone's living in the first world. So it's like all the first world people are like, oh, climate change this, climate change that. We gotta live more sustainably. Hello? What the fuck? What's going on? I got 45K subs when like the average YouTube sub number is like 375,000. 375K is average. I have a 13-year-old channel and the most original, most sustainable lifestyle with the most original inventions behind it and website behind it. And their numbers say that I only have 45K. 13-year-old channel. And the average age of a channel is only like a couple years old. So 375,000 subs average of several-year-old YouTube channels, and I have 13-year-old YouTube channel with original content that's supposedly most desired right now. I don't know. Like, am I just like, is this just gonna like, is it just waiting? Is it actually taking this long for people to put things together, or are they artificially shadow banning my content? Because for 9 years of my channel, YouTube kept my sub number at 1,000 roughly. They wouldn't let it advance into 2,000 for 9 years until Kristen Dirksen did her video, which had my YouTube channel plastered on the side of my wagon. So her 1 million view video probably got 1 million people coming to my channel, and half of those people subbing. And so they had to let my channel sub number get past that threshold that they had me at for 9 years in order for it to not be completely obvious. Because if someone does a video on you and you have your YouTube channel on the side of it, and 1 million of them go to your channel, and their algorithms pick up on that, like that upswell of traffic, then they have to have a built-in mechanism to let subs that are subbing past that threshold, because it would be too obvious. And then they have this is what I would do. And if you can think of what you would do, the government's doing worse. So this is at least, like, I know this is like devious, but like they got to be doing this because they have to like maintain control on virality and of things that they don't want getting out of control. Gotta go get packages. Let's see if the mailman wants a peach. Oh, I don't know. Sorry, mailman. No, it's good.
Jerry, take your poop with you. I'm barefoot. Sorry. I don't know where the mailman went. He slowed down. I heard his engine slowing down, like he was gonna do his backup thing, and then I started talking and didn't hear that he didn't do that. He must just slow down. All right. I'll eat you, Peach. Okay. Set the milk on. And get their hay. You'd be so happy. I found on Amazon, I just spent all my money on a 40-pound bag of Thorvin's sea kelp. They don't like livestock, say too, is it? And that's what they said. I think they claim it's organic or something, or say it's like the healthiest. Anyway, yeah, it looks the best too. It's not powder, it's like chunks. And it smells like kelp. It smells great. And it feels great. Like people are taking it, like making tea out of it if they're not grinding it up and eating it in their food. And anyway, it's for a 3-pound bag, it was $40.
And then I didn't know that they had like somewhere on Amazon, somewhere else on Amazon, they have a 40-pound bag that's only $119 or something like that. 40 pounds. That's like way more affordable. I mean, like, it was barely affordable. Like I had to like think about it for a while, because spending $100 is a lot of money for me. Spending $200 is like among like the larger things that I've ever bought. I've never even held more than $2,000. My life is so weird. I'm 43 years old and I've never held more than had in the bank anywhere. I've never had more than $500. That's crazy. That's crazy. I think it was $2,800 is the most I ever had, and that was when I bought my mother's truck from her. I just called my mother my mom mother. It's weird. Tweaker going by with his scooter. Yeah, I remembered. Tshirt. I gotta start a new batch of kraut today too. I love kraut. I try to eat kraut every day. I like to eat kraut every day. My sourdough. Got a new bag of flour yesterday. I ran into town yesterday. The grocery store got a cabbage down there. Green onions. Neighbors didn't grow freaking cabbage. I want cabbage. I need to work for a cabbage farmer. I need to find out who grows the cabbages in my valley. And I need to offer it a freaking work trade for him. Working on it. As soon as I get the bathroom and that fork fixed, and I'm hoping like next week those parts will be here, and I'm thinking it'll take another week for me to put them on, to prep the spots and weld the parts together, and then fit everything on. And then I think the burlap cover for the bathroom is might be a little challenging. Figuring out how to cut that shape, that like weird quarter dome shape. It's like a quarter dome, but it's squished in sideways. I don't know what you call that shape either. I don't know shape names, apparently. There's two shape names I don't know. Yeah. Now I gotta wash my hands, wash the stickiness off my hand. Good pictures, thank you. Alright. I need to put them up in the pot, get their hay, and I'll do the kraut later because it's still not windy. I like to work this wool in the morning before the wind starts getting breezy, and before it gets hot, like too hot in here to not have that open. And when it gets too hot in here to where I have to open up the other side, then you get cross draft and you can't do box felting. That's one drawback of box felting, is the wind is the enemy. Like, it really needs to not have any draft at all in order for it to be peaceful. You can do it, but it's just not peaceful. Like having that fluff fiber like potentially blow around gives you anxiety that's gonna blow off. So it just sucks. Abracadabra. Abracadabra. Dibba-dibba-dibba. YouTube song stuck in my head. YouTube song stuck. I don't listen to any music, any actual music, so like I literally don't listen to music. I haven't listened to music or held a collection of music for like 20 years or 15 years or something like that. Like, I just don't listen to music. I don't like listening to music. I like to listen to the voice in my head. And I like to listen to the music that's in my head. That's constantly the melodies. And so yeah, I need to go wash. I need to get out my. Apparently I didn't scrub it before, but what are you doing? It's like the worst thing ever is not washing something as soon as you possibly can, so that it's easiest to wash. At least filling it with water. Come on. Air. So irresponsible of me. Alright, I'm looking for my sponge. I gotta clean this sponge. Woo! This is my sheep soap. My sheep soap. I didn't make it though. My friend makes it, and Robert, Veracent soap company. I'll wash this first, and then put some more soap on it, and scrub that up. Awesome. You guys want to come sideways with me? This song is so addictive. So catchy. Watch me wash dishes. Sorry, I'm an idiot. You probably would have been better and happier watching my sheep lay there peacefully chewing their cud. Like I'm watching over my shoulder right now while you guys are watching my wash the dish. Sorry. Like I said, I'm an idiot. Sorry. We try to help, and it just messes stuff up. Ain't that life? Try to help, and you just hurt. Makes you have to really contemplate how you want to help, how you think you're helping in the future. almost to the point where it paralyzes you and you're not even willing to make a move to help. Once you start to get so responsible minded, there's a certain threshold where it's easy to lock up. Pump this. I'll get low. That builds up your punch. You know, the 2-inch punch or whatever. 4-inch punch, whatever they call it. Awesome. Let's drain, move this soap. There's the lid. There it is. I love this pesticide sprayer. Turn dishwasher shower. Manual pressure pesticide sprayer. All stainless steel. Love these. Freaking has lasted me so long. I love this thing. The type of things that potentially you could get like a backup of, and between those two, they could last you your entire life, as long as you have like the backup washers that come with them, or you have a backup pack of washers, because that's undoubtedly the thing that does go bad on these is little washers, but they come with a couple extra, and you can order extra packs that come with like 10 for a couple bucks, and that would be the smart thing to do. Have a backup of this, and then the actual minor parts that are made to be replaced, you have several backups of those, or a dozen. So then after I let it drain, then I let it UV sanitize. I like to let everything UV sanitize. Face it up towards the sun. I love having this because I can angle my pots pretty perfectly, so I get sun perfectly sun in them. There we go. Right. Good. Sheep, I'll go get your hay. Yeah. Dump out their cottonwood leaves that we collected last night. Yes, yesterday evening when we took the wagon out to go graze. We usually just go out in the evenings until we can leave. As soon as we leave, as soon as we fix the bathroom and fix the front fork is bad. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's been riding around the actual piece that was cracked. It was cracked up, and then it ended up cracking over and then down, and then that piece fell out when I pulled the fork out to measure with the calipers to replace this top tube. It fell out, and I just put this back on. That was like a week ago or so, and I've been riding around on it for a week, and it hasn't felt any different, or without that piece in the middle that wasn't serving any structural strength purposes. Yeah, this is just a huffy front fork, so we used a super crappy bike because we made this at the beginning of the lockdown, right when the lockdown happened. I was like, oh shit, we need to make this happen, this idea of this wagon. If shit's gonna hit the fan. I've been trying to get this done for years, a couple years by myself, without welding, with wood, and it's just, you cannot get it light enough in order to be practically transportable, safely transportable with a either yourself pulling or a safe size animal when bullets start flying. Safe size draft animal when bullets start flying. People are too idealistic with Hollywood images of nomadicism, with a covered wagon, with big covered wagon with a team of horses. It's so stupid. It's so, I mean, I was caught up in it too. I'm so glad to be free of that mental, like that pressure to conform to that. I completely realize how unpractical pulling your own wagon seems, even though people don't understand how lightweight my wagon is relatively and how big the wheels are. Just make it really easy to and enjoyable, in fact. But that's part of me being able to shuck off giving a fuck what other people think, that's made me so effective and useful for spirit, because I'm willing to forsake my mother, father, brother, and sister, and friends, and concerns, able to forsake them and follow the same spirit that Christ followed, and he advocated us to pray to and to follow the guidance of. Pray to for guidance. Not supposed to pray to Christ. Christ never prayed to Christ, he prayed to the Father. His Father, which was not the Father of the Old Testament, or the Father of the one, any God that's doing evil things is not God, obviously. Genital mutilation, maybe that's not right. Genital mutilation, circumcision, for the purpose of branding the person's body as belonging to the God. That doesn't sound very godly. Being vengeful and spiteful doesn't sound, it doesn't sound very benevolent. It sounds malevolent. The opposite. Sounds like the opposite of God. Sounds like the adversary. The first Christians were called Marcionites. They were actually the first, you can look it up, Marcionites. They were the ones that were the first followers of Christ. And before the Christian religion was organized into the official narrative that it is today, the Marcionites, first followers of Christ, believed that the God of the Old Testament was actually the adversary, it was actually Satan, and that Satan's greatest trick is not convincing you that he doesn't exist, but instead convincing you that he is God. When it's obvious that the God's actions in the Old Testament are not godly actions. And now we know from like historians and archaeologists that God Yahweh is like a Canaanite god, that he was a storm god. He was a lesser god that the Judaism like elevated to like this singular supreme god. And it's just a storm god, a god of chaos. And that's exactly what the Abrahamic religions have created, a lot of chaos. They're responsible for all the holy wars throughout existence, which is probably, like, since those three religions have been in existence, have been responsible for more than any other wars, any other non-religious wars. Eastern religions aren't creating wars, aren't doing religious wars. And they certainly wouldn't double speakingly call it holy wars. It's like, if you're holy, the holy is like peaceful. It's like, I don't know, like the whole, I don't know, the whole Abrahamic religions being based on like blood sacrifice and of innocent beings on top of that, like, just the whole thing is morbid. Genital mutilation and the whole thing is morbid, while simultaneously like gaslighting you into, like, trying to gaslight you into thinking that it's it's holy, and that God is holy, and the people that are following it are holy, and yeah. Anyway, we now know that all you got to do is Google Yahweh Canaanite God, and you'll be able to read the history of how he was in fact a recorded lesser god within the Canaanite tribes, and he evolved by being elevated by Judaism into the main god, and they didn't choose one of the pantheon of gods that had like, I don't know if they had like a pantheon that represented joy or brotherhood or something like that, or something that constituted like bringing people together, because all religions do that. All religions like are supposed to be like synonymous with like bringing people together under God, with God. And Judaism is the only religion that does the opposite. It's the only one also that's racist, because its doctrine says that a certain race of people are God's chosen people. So that storm god, chaos religion, is creating a religion that's actually an anti-religion. It's actually dividing humans on Earth by saying that some are elevated, are more chosen, are more connected, or more endowed by God, more empowered by God. And that's exactly how they use it. They're like, oh, God is on our side. Throughout the Bible, they're like, God is on our side. So, and he told us to massacre this entire neighboring village and take it over and kill, leave no person or livestock alive, and like just super messed up stuff. Like, yeah. When you have that mentality, it's dangerous, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, Judaism and Islam are both the craziest, most dangerous religions right now, I think, because they both have actual physical world domination agendas, whereas like Christianity, like I don't know of any doctrine within Christianity that is about a physical monopolization of or a physical supremacy in the future, a physical supremacy of Christianity as part of their agenda. Like I think it's I don't know, kind of, because I think that Christ is supposed to establish, and Christianity is supposed to establish a new physical earth here. That's, but there's no like we don't have any secondary interpretation books and direction books like Islam has secondary and tertiary books. Like Judaism has a bunch of secondary and tertiary books that are written by the rabbis to interpret and to build upon the ideas of their central Torah book. Christianity is the Torah and the New Testament, and there's nothing else outside of that like helps to interpret or helps to direct them. But the subsequent books of Judaism and Islam both have their holy people that they follow, saying that their religion will come to physically dominate, like militarily come to dominate physically. That's what I mean. Physically and militarily come to dominate the world in the end times. That's their agenda. And that's like, yeah. And so I guess Christianity does too, because so from an outsider's perspective, from a non-Christian's perspective, which I'm trying to take because I still have my upbringing of that, is that I bet you guys want to watch the happy sheep eat the hay. That is nothing but the grass from the top of this little hill beyond this tree. I just scythed it down, let it dry out, over on the other side of the pump house, so it wouldn't get sprinklered on. And they like it more dry, and they also like to graze comfortably here in the shade. So I'm trying to get an actual grass blade for my scythe right now. It's on my wish list. If anyone wants to contribute $1 to the grass blade that's on there, I'm halfway there. Thanks to Dustin's donation last night. I'm halfway there now, and then I'll be able to more efficiently and cut down more of the dainty type stuff. Jumping around from serious conversations to non-serious conversations, or bigger picture to like smaller picture. Hey, be nice. Good girl, Annie. All right, Missy, it's your turn. Annie is the boss, and so Annie was eating out of that and wouldn't let Missy. Are you still eating it? Happy, yeah. So yeah, in 2 weeks maybe I'll be able to finally, after 2 years of being on this property, like work trading with just this property. Yeah, thank God it didn't turn into like, I don't know, the Billings farm was a lot more responsibility, like actually shepherding for them. I had a lot more responsibility and a lot more fun there. Like I've been completely underutilized here, but I've used that time wisely to develop some other ideas and develop other projects. The wagon itself, the bathroom, and learning how to weld. Man, I've benefited from the 2 years here, the underutilization of my potential here. Yeah, it's been nice. It's been perfect. And now here in the next couple weeks, I'll be done with that, fixing the front fork and fixing the bathroom. And I will be heading out of here to the north side of the valley and connecting with the farms that, connecting physically and with the farms that I've connected with social media, and start putting together a network. I want to get a map too for the back of my wagon, a map of the valley, a detailed map of the valley, and get a very fine red tip marker like I made the wild edible map of Ashland. And I want to start marking out not only wild edibles and weeds, places where wild edibles, nuts, fruits, wild edibles, water sources, and and then I want that map on the back to also have my house, my farms, and have the actual network so I can visually figure out my routes and stuff. Because my networks, once they get large enough, my circuit will change, and I'll like take little loop-de-loops out of a main initial one. Take little loop-de-loops out to new farms that are outside of that, and I can't go inside because there's Medford is right in the center of a little lower center of our valley, and so like basically once I go into the north of the valley and connect with these farms, I'm going to stay on that end of the valley and never come back to this end of the valley because it narrows, the valley narrows at the bottom, and so I have to go around Medford for what? There's 2 tiny towns, Phoenix, then Talent, where I'm outside of, and then there's Ashland, which they banned us. Medford doesn't allow for livestock to walk through. They won't allow for a covered wagon apparently, and Ashland won't either. And so it's like I'm underutilized in this part outside of Talent, not only because my property friend here is underutilizing me, but also because I don't have anyone around there's not enough people that are bartering food with me anymore. Like it's like pulling teeth for some reason this year to get enough barter. I had to go to the grocery store just last night, and it's and the work trade, the work trade interest, people needing work trade or wanting to work trade is minimal over here. There are not enough people growing food over here. It's mostly weed, or they're not doing anything with their land, or they're doing cow. So most people aren't doing anything with their land out here, though, or they're growing grapes. There's a lot of people with grapes. There's a lot of orchards too. There's just not a lot of actual farms as compared to the north of the valley. North of the valley, the property is much more affordable for people, and so then you get a lot more down-to-earth people who need to more responsibly utilize their land for production of something that isn't so. Yeah, it is. They need to use it for something that is more sustainable, because they. Yeah, if you're homesteading, you're doing it because you don't feel like. If you're going back to homesteading, it's because you don't feel like the system is stable enough or honest enough with all like the weird new GMOs coming out that are slipping on, not needing to be labeled and whatnot. It's just becoming more and more questionable to not farm or farmhand. And so the cheaper properties is where the people that have that ability that don't have the ability to pay for the exponentially increasingly expensive organic food and like certified, not fake food. The poor people are the only people that need to move out of the city to grow their food. The rich people buy property outside the city, and they don't need to grow food because they have enough money to continue buying the restaurant food that tastes so much better, or the whatever. They have like so many people are on those like those mail to you like meals or whatever, where they like mail the ingredients to you and you like bake it, but they've made it super easy, kind of like Betty Crocker style. It's like they send you a new Betty Crocker meal. Anyway, what do they call it? Super fresh, something. I'm gonna finish pulling this wool before it gets windy, gets too windy, and or it gets too hot to where I need to open up this right side awning, and that makes it too windy with the through draft. So I started explaining at one point and then got distracted about how I am experimenting with a new way of optimizing the size of the felt that can be made with a single box of this size, a single tote. And this method is, I'm filling it up with, oh, you can't see it anymore. I filled up with wool, with finger carded wool, and then I let that settle as much as possible and passively pack down, and so they do a more thorough job instead of buckle, so that the fibers would go into each other as best as possible, instead of, you silly girl, it would go into each other instead of buckling and folding, the fibers folding before they go into each other. You want them to go into each other and then fold. And if you try to drive them in too fast, then they'll fold before going into each other. So I did that at a maximum speed, so to speak, and then by putting a piece of coroplast, this material, sign material, I put a piece of sign material cut perfectly for the inside of that. I put it inside, and that was enough to weigh it down, and then I pushed it down to the bottom, and I've started to build a second layer on top of that, and I'll fill it up to here, and then I'll put a piece of chloroplast on and let it settle overnight, and then take that piece of plastic off and fill it back up again, and basically try to make the same density of a layer on top. And then I would like to get 4 of those layers in here, because the bottom one is compacted down to that. If I can get the second one to compact down to that too, then the bottom unfluffed layers or pacted layers would be like this. And then if I could get a third one in, it'd be like that. And then I would just need to, with the fourth layer, build it up and let it settle down, and then build it up a little bit more and let it settle. It'll take longer for it to settle down because it'll be so compact and it'll have so much so many layers underneath it that it won't be as deep of a walled box to as quickly create the density that the bottom layers are accomplished. But if I can get 4 layers, then what I'm thinking is that when I go to instead of just dumping it out and wetting it down, I've tried like filling it super full to where when I dump it out, I can kind of like fluff it apart and pull it apart a little bit, and that's not consistent enough. You get cracks and stuff in it. And so this time I'm going to get out of there. Go on, get. Good girl. This time I'm going to try to dump it out and onto the tarp, and then take the 4 pieces off and overlap them next to each other, in the same way that you kind of like you close the top of a cardboard box, like one side goes over and one side goes under the flap next to it, and then when I felt that up, it'll actually have the slight overlap of like maybe an inch of each panel being overlapped each other. The flaps, they will create a natural cross in the middle that will be a little bit thicker and therefore stronger for shear resistance. And I'm thinking that it won't quite be as big as is optimal for my size body that I was speaking about earlier, about how my optimal size felt to make is 5 foot by 5 foot, because I'm 5'6" and my arm span is 5'6", so I can most easily grab up to a 5-inch wide piece of felt for flipping and rotating and working with. And so this will be like I don't know, honestly. If these pieces are like this and then like that, I don't know. I'm gonna have to play with it, but it's definitely going to be more efficient than just filling up a box and dumping it out and making a panel. Because if I do that with this size box, it'll make a freaking panel that's like that wide by like that tall. It'll shrink up so much. I mean, I can make it a little bit. I can prevent it from shrinking that much and maybe make it like this tall by that tall is the widest that I could prevent it from shrinking. And that's unacceptable, because that's not enough to make your panel that you're going to be spending time on. Needs to be at least large enough, I would say, to make half of the front or back side of a vest, or the front or the back side of a pair of pants or shorts or something. Like, otherwise, if you're having to make 4 panels for a vest, that's because you're having to they're so skinny that you can't connect enough of them to wrap around your big belly or whatever. Then yeah. So I think that this will probably be like 4 foot by 4 foot panel, and then it'll shrink to a 3 foot by 3 foot panel. And 3 foot by 3 foot is like plenty big enough to be half of a vest or half of a pair of pants or shorts, actually. Or 3 foot if you're short, you can wear a pair of pants. Even if the person is obese, a 3 foot by 3 foot felted panels could make them a vest or a pair of shorts. So I'm thinking that this box felting adaptation advancement is going to, I'm hoping that it can make this box felting process even more efficient, so that you could just fill up 2 boxes with those layers, and their resulting 2 panels could be used to make anyone a vest. I mean, anyone, I can make anyone invest out of this mobile wagon with that size box. Anyone else that space isn't such a extreme concern, like my living out of my little wagon, they can just use a bigger box, or they can make a bigger box. You can get freaking 5 pieces of cardboard, 4 on each side for the walls and 1 for the bottom. Get 5 pieces of cardboard and duct tape them together, and make your own box if you wanted to make a big one and didn't know where to find a big box, didn't know where like a huge box was. You can make your own really easily, and just with a couple pieces of tape. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. Or I likely won't get done with 4 layers. It looks like I won't even get 2 layers done, because the first layer I built up. If you fill up a box this tall up to the top with this fine of finger carded wool, then you'll get a perfectly thick panel that is like it's not good for summer and it's not good for winter, but it'd be like perfectly in between. The thickness, it would be like this. This is a little thick. This is a little thin, actually. No, this one's a little bit thicker than this one. This one's thinner. You can see how this one's more drapey. This one. There's a big difference in just that thickness. Like this one is like 1/8 of an inch, and this one's like 3. I don't know. You can see how this one, when I hold it out this direction, this short direction, it drapes down. It's a little bit. I think it's a little bit. This one doesn't drape down as much, so it's more rigid. This is made with different wool though too. This is made with a little bit coarser wool. Which definitely lends to the rigidity, but this is a tiny bit thicker. So this is like definitely summer right here. This is and this is like mid-season thickness, and filling that size box up with this consistency of finger carded wool will produce that mid-season thickness, and then to replicate that same thickness with the second and third and fourth layers on top, I have to fill it up and then let it settle and or press it down and then fill it back up. And then I think I'll have to do that just once with the second layer, and then the third layer, after I smash the second layer down all the way and put a piece of coroplast on top of it and weigh it down overnight or something so it stays, take the weights off, and then start filling up the third layer. And once I get to the top, settling or pressing down, then rebuilding back to the top, and then a second settling and or pressing and refilling would be required. And then the fourth layer, I'll have to do that 3 times is what I'm planning. It's really a simple process, but I realized that explaining it there sounded probably overcomplicated, so I'm laughing. It's like, God, I'm trying to make this so simple, but it's so hard. It's so hard to make it so simple. See the wind starting to pick up and it's starting to rock that over there. So it's visually threatening to like blow my work off the tray is the way that it feels. So this is like getting into the part of the day that I don't like to work. The most, in general, the most stable air currents are in the morning and in the evening.
reason is because there is a time lag on the effects of the stabilizing of the temperature, air temperature. When the sun goes down, it takes 8 hours for it to cool down. Different air pockets and air levels, elevations of air to become a more consistent temperature. And so then in the morning when the sun comes out, it takes like another 8 hours for it to for the effects of the sun coming out and starting to warm the cold, consistently cooled air and form inconsistencies in the heat that then drive those different pockets around. They want to elevate and descend. That warmed up want to elevate, and so the elevation demand to elevate automatically fills in spots that aren't directly above it, and that starts lateral movement of winds. I'm no weather person, but and I didn't even finish high school, but that's the way I've come to understand it. I don't know if it's true. I have no idea. I literally have never read anything from that. That's just like what I would assume is happening by my observation, that there is less wind in the mornings and in the evenings. And I think that when I learned that there's also a huge heat sink, I think is one of the words that helped me to understand what was going on with supposed global warming. Yeah. What is it? Something about the documentaries are talking about how the ocean is like a huge heat sink. It warms up and then it takes like a whole freaking season for it to cool down into the, I don't remember what that had to do with, but just the idea of a sink. All right. So I'm going to make one more layer on top of that. Fill up this once more, and fill up this twice more, and put one piece here and another piece there, overlapping slightly, and then I'll put the piece of chloroplast on top and put this lid on, and I'll jostle it around, bang it on the ground slightly, and then let it set and see what it looks like in the morning. And actually I might after I do all that, I might put some rocks on top and weigh it down, and then by tomorrow I'm going to try to get it to be smushed down to its roughly inch thick pre-felted thickness as the first layer is, and then tomorrow it'll be ready to add the third layer on, and then the next day I'll try to add the fourth layer. Just take an hour each day and hand pick a layer apart. It's hard to visually distinguish where these locks are. It makes it easy to pay attention to where they split naturally. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to split them apart, so work smarter, not harder. Look for the biggest cracks instead of like looking up at the tips and getting lost in the woods or whatever. Here, just kind of take a bigger picture view of this massive wool and where the fissures are, where the cracks are, and start there. And then you can go back to each of these pieces and look for their more minor fissures or cracks to be divided by. But if you just looked at the whole thing and the tips
kind of represent like where everything starts, and so they're the most defined thing, but they're also the most jumbled thing. So it makes you like look there and try to like sort out what's going on below, but that is difficult, much more difficult to do than just taking a more pan back view and looking for the divided spaces in between these tips. And that'll help you divide it into the actual tips. This is small enough, I can use that. Into little handheld pieces that might have a couple of lock tips each. Each hand piece might have a couple of little locks, like this one, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. That little one. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little ball of crap. Crapple. Set it right there. Okay. I gotta plug you in. You're starting to die. Is anyone still in here? It doesn't have any way of telling if anyone's on here. It just has these a couple of comments. What are we creating? We're creating a felt. Heck yeah, I'm gonna have the best bathroom, taking baths out in the woods and out in the country and next to creeks and stuff. Taking baths that don't have pharmaceuticals and endocrine disruptors and hormone disruptors in the city tap water. Oh, I'm able to scroll back in the comments. That's cool. I will never ask people to press the like button or subscribe. I don't care about that. I don't want superficial numbers. And I don't care about... I obviously don't care about approval. So I don't need likes. I understand those things help the channel, but I'm not going to beg you guys to help spread something that it sells itself. I shouldn't try to have to try to sell something that it sells itself. It should be selling itself once people start to take responsibility, more responsibility. Yeah, my winter hats are always felt. I don't make summer hats. I don't know why. I was thinking about that the other day, though. I was like, dude, I haven't had a summer hat for years. Like 20 years. I can't even remember the last summer hat I had. But I was thinking about it with some of my thin felt back there, making a brimmed hat. I haven't had a brimmed hat in so long. Do I wear underwear? Yes, I wear my felted wool underwear with the lanolin left on, with my walnut button, with my 380 pistol. All right. Yeah, exactly. Getting that vitamin D in my fingertips, absorb it through my palms. He's talking about how lanolin is the vitamin D3. It's in milk. The vitamin D3 that they add to food is actually lanolin that they subject to UV light, and it converts. Lanolin is a cholesterol, and when they expose it to UV light, it converts the cholesterol into vitamin D3. So when I expose my fleece to the sun, it converts it to vitamin D3, and then when I work with it without washing it first, then it absorbs into my pores.
Okay, a cuboid, thank you. Okay, a cuboid with rectangular sides. Thank you. That's good to know. Now what is a 1/4? What shape is my fold down bathroom gonna be? It's like a 1/4 sphere that's the sides are squished in. What is that called, Mr. Warp? Is that Mrs. Warp? Is that Warp? Warp with the 123 home free list? The possessions list? Plato's Cave? The TV and movies? Yeah. What do you mean, what happened to the wagon? No. Oh, grow coca like for cocoa? I don't want coca. It's not the same plant, right? Chocolate doesn't come from cocaine plant. It comes from another plant, right? I'll be tripping if I find out it's the same plant. There's so much that it's like held for some reason. I don't understand, like, basic knowledge. When I find out, I'm like, what? Why the hell I didn't know this before this late point in my life? What the hell is going on? Like, I didn't know that that cocoa and cacao were different things. I thought that people that said cacao were just saying it fancy like, but cacao is unprocessed raw cocoa. Cocoa is processed cacao, from what I've just in the last couple of years think that I've learned. I still kind of find it hard to believe that that's true, because then that would mean that I've been mistaken my whole life. So it's given me bias to not want to believe it. I have. I don't know, man. These reading these comments is too. Review products. It takes a pretty. I'm doing a review on the Go Sun Sucky electric tray next. Hey, get out of there. Get. She just got one of the peaches. She can have peaches as much as she wants. She just can't steal them. All right, I gotta get the milk in the pot. That's what I gotta do. I gotta get the milk in the pot. It's starting to get hot. Hey, get out of there. Would you guys get out of there? I'm tying it shut. Silly girl. Now you can't get in there. All right, it's starting to get hot, and I'm gonna finish this and make that layer before I even mess with the milk, because I'm just getting this done. Get out of there. Go on. Missy. Missy, stop. Missy, go on. Some of those are soft. You don't want to start smashing them. Silly shit. Yeah. They want to go out. They're so bored. They have been severe. We used to leave like way more before that stupid. Used to graze them way more and way further to further spots before that front yoke started getting so messed up that it made me cautious to not want to break down too far away from my friend's property here, or have that hose clamp break. I have a second hose clamp on my wagon in case that hose clamp on the front fork breaks before I'm able to replace the top tube, fix it. But I don't know, for some reason that is just, I really do not like staying on one property and leaving to guerrilla graze only to have to come back to the same property. I like to do that when there's ample
enough graze around, aka it's not like the dry season. Like right now is like the end of the dry season. There's isn't crap around us to eat, and so we would have to go further just to get half the good of spot that is usually there, and so it's not quite worth it time-wise to have to come back here, to just have to retrace our tracks or circle around in some way in order to get back here by evening to close up my friend's chickens so they can be safe. So yeah, I just think that that in the summertime you're going to want to I want to, in this lifestyle, I want to either be traveling during the summer more. I want to be skipping to different farms more frequently, or if it's an irrigated farm or property like this property and it's the only oasis within a couple miles, the only place to graze within a couple miles, then it might be a smarter trade-off to try to stay longer at that property, because the distances during the dry season, the distances of green graze are too far apart, and for it to be more efficient, for the conversion to be more efficient. So yeah, like, is there a horsefly? Sheep just freaked out. It's a stupid horsefly, but luckily I just seen him fly off. Usually they try to mess with him for a long period of time and I gotta go kill him. Stupid horseflies. So yeah, almost ready to get out of here, but I'm actually thinking about leaving the valley because I just recently in the last year learned that this valley called Rogue Valley is I thought that the definition of rogue meant like rebel or something like that, or like nonconformist or something. And I just learned though that it means an unprincipled person. That sucks. That's lame. I do not like that word now at all. That's like the opposite of what I'm trying to manifest within myself, my life. I'm trying to fix this better. There we go. That works. That work? Yeah, I got down. Oh yeah, I got down. Oh, that works better. Okay, cool. Oh, that works way better. I can like rotate it. What the hell? Well, it takes a little blend stuff. Yeah. I see. Man, I want to pour that milk. I'm starting to get hot, and that means that I have the temperature out is getting up to the 90 degrees that's necessary in order to coagulate my sheep's milk and cheese. So I should start heating it. Should like hopefully have some mozzarella passively made by the end of the day. Getting milk out. Alright. Yeah. Milk goes in. Butter comes out. Milk goes in. Butter comes out. We don't turn it. Turn it out. making all the calories. I wish I would have saved that one actually. Because I wanna have an iced latte later. Oh my god, it's so good. These little look at this awesome ice, little size ice that I have with these new types of ice trays. That you take this part out that nests down inside, and you fill it up just with a little bit of water, and then when you press this down and top, it raises the water level and fills up all the little cubes. So it's basically a ice tray that's been rolled up and enclosed so that it's portable while it's freezing, whereas you can't do that with any other ice tray because it'll splash out. But yeah, this is freaking amazing. These per meter height. How perfect is that? So, and I got 2 tubs of liver in here. I'm freaking so lucky. I got my sheep's cheese right here. I got a hamburger here too. I just wish these were local because I'm used to like trading these, especially in the summertime when, oh my god, this has a paper bag around it. So the paper bag, I really like using paper bag in placement of like wax basically. To help protect outside, and yeah, when the paper bag it's been smashed down. That one was smashed down because I put another piece of cheese on top on top of it by accident. I thought that was more was denser and that wouldn't happen, and it did happen. So anyway, go away, fly. Awesome. Love these black caps. Thank you to my subscriber for getting them for me off my Amazon wish list. They're like, they've been a game changer. Absolutely. I hate metal lids for jars. Even the ones that aren't the 2-piece ones, those are the most annoying 2-piece, but even the 1-piece ones, they still, like, even before they visually start getting rusty, they start tasting and putting off rusty flavors, and I freaking hate it. And then I found a white plastic lid like this. Somebody gave me something with a white plastic lid like this, and I loved it. I was like, wow, I love this, but it shows like dirt and stuff, and I cannot keep the outside of any of my vessels clean. I can only worry about keeping the inside clean because I live outside. And so this black, like, you can see there's a little piece of dirt there, but like, it doesn't look bad. When it's white, it looks horrible. It looks disgusting. So these black lids, and here's my little butter jar lid. Like, look at that. Like, there's smudges all over this. If this was white right now, it would look disgusting. But just the fact that it's black makes it look legit. Same thing with my old coffee bar. Like I don't know. I wish that this company would come up with a black version, because then I wouldn't have to clean the top of it nearly as often. It would, like, right now it looks dirty. This is actually clean for me. It would look a lot cleaner if it was entirely black. So anyway, I like these jars too. I like those jars. Awesome. All right, got like a gallon and a quarter here. Cream. Love the cream, yeah. Alright, I need to put... Chicken set that off? Huh. I got new motion sensors, yo. Freaking cool. So cool. I feel like a lot more safe now. Like, cause there's like millions of people that like know that I live here, and I'm pretty sure that people have put my address out on the internet, because I've gotten 10 times the amount of traffic that come by, and they look like they're sightseeing more than just people passing through it traditionally. Since especially that Business Insider video. came out and yeah, it said Talon, Oregon. It's not a big town. So someone somewhere put up my address. All right, go sit in the sun. Awesome. Now we can leave actually, because as soon as I get done with this wool, then I can put this to the side, and I can put that black pot onto the cargo rack on the back and of the wagon, and we'll be able to at that point be able to leave if we wanted to graze, if it's going to be cool enough today. It's starting to cool down to where we've been going out earlier and earlier. The other day we went out like at noon, and that hasn't happened for months because it's been too hot. Scissors! Birds! Right. Ah, sorry. I gotta finish up. Oh, I got more dishes here. Gotta rinse these two, sorry. Rinse right off the bat. Just wait. Clean up. I don't know what I'd do without this sprayer. Oh, some trout. Craven trout, I just saw it. I gotta check them out.